Welcome everyone, good evening, afternoon and morning. Perhaps I should be a little bit quieter because this is 4 AM video Monday. Also, we're not gonna bother with the camera today either because it's dark, it's night, and I don't want to be bothered setting up my entire camera for today, but more importantly, I don't want to be associated with what is going to be in this video. Because in this video, we have the Dragonflight Hunter Talent trees. So up to this point, I've been quite positive and quite happy about most of the talent options and talent trees that have been shown. DK, Druid, Priest, Rogue, they were actually all very nice. I was worried, if you have watched my previous videos, I was a little bit worried about the pure DPS classes because they don't have the luxury of options like the Druid with multiple different roles, tanks, healing, so you have plenty of different options to pick from. If you're a pure DPS class, you have much fewer options, so perhaps it was going to be harder to find good and exciting points to take for pure DPS classes in all your talent trees, but it looked good for Rogue. Rogue was a positive surprise, it looked very good even though they are a pure DPS class, so I was optimistic for once. Unfortunately, what we have in front of us is the worst of the talent trees for all classes that we have seen so far. Hunter is not just one of the trees, it's not just the default Hunter tree or one of the specs of Hunter, it's the entirety of Hunter that is the worst so far that we have seen. The first problem that Hunter has is in its general tree. The vast majority of these picks, all the way up to the last bracket, are very, very bad. When you start with Killshot, the improved Killshot damage, the cooldown reduction on your heal, the movement speed, the interrupt, the misdirect, and the trunk shot. This is very standard, it's very basic, there is nothing too weird about this. What gets worse is that after picking your crowd control choice here, almost all of this is comically bad. Like, comically bad to imagine spending points into. 3 points. 3 points just to get your Mend pet to heal 75% of your pet's health. That's a 3-point talent, that's just awful. 2 points in this one. Your pet takes 90% reduced damage while under the effect of misdirection. Target knocked back by explosive trap or stunned by intimidation deal 20% less damage to you. You know, these are trash open world talents, even like PvP talents. They do nothing in PvE. Oh, this one, exhilaration also heals your pet for 100% max health. Like, unless Blizzard was thinking at some sort of pet hunter tanking build, these are all awful talents. Then you have this one, 2 points, you have to spend 2 points to get 5-second cooldown reduction on your freezing trap. You have to spend 3 points to reduce the cooldown of your aspects by 21%, and even 3 points to increase your movement speed by 6%. The already most mobile of range specs has to spend 3 points just to get 6% move speed. You know, all of these things are just dreadful. They are really, really bad talents. It doesn't really feel good to take them. It's just the problem I was having. I was fearing with Hunter. Hunter has been kept by Blizzard as such a simple class. Just 3 to 4 buttons to press, not really much of anything else, that imagining that all of these talents can offer you some good and nice and exciting options, like for example you could with Druid, was really tough to imagine, and we see now what the result is. All of these things feel very, very uninspiring and very, very boring. So to get to the actual last bracket, the actual damage bracket, let's just take this one so we can get to our stun. Let's take this one so we can enable this side. Let's take this one so we can enable this side. Let's take camouflage and tar trap. Let's spend whatever points we can just to enable this, and now we can finally get, for example, the marksmanship stuff. Serpent Sting, the improvement on Serpent Sting, up to you. Explosive shot, barrage, so you can get master marksman for the bleed. 6% crit in 3 points, which is also very boring to spend 3 points for 6% crit. Chimera shot, and then your covenant options for Hunter is going to be Necrolord, surprisingly. That chakram, that's it. That's gonna be your setup for Marksmanship Hunter pretty much all the time. If you're playing Survival, and if you're playing Beast Mastery, this is going to stay the same. You're going to get rid of all of this stuff to get to the range stuff here, right? This one as well. You're gonna take kill command, of course, and then you're gonna take the trap. 9% more pet damage, 10% more kill command damage, kill command power up, stampede, Nezingueri's trapping apparatus, which is going to be good in Mythic Plus, and then your chakrams, and that's it. That's the setup for the general hunter, and it is very, very boring because most of these talents are things you don't care about, you don't want to take. We talked about how, for example, Rogue was filled with damage options. We looked at, for example, when we looked at this, we were like, this is all damage, and then you have this. You know, this is all damage for Rogue, all damage. And then you go at Hunter, you go to the Hunter version, right? And where's the damage? You know, where's the damage? You have this one, of course, the start and kill command, and then you have only this part is damage. This is not damage. It feels very uninspiring when it comes to the general tree, but perhaps they can be bailed out, perhaps they can be saved by the specific tree for Hunter, starting with Marksmanship. Unfortunately, this tree is very boring. There are very few options that feel entertaining, exciting. There is very few of this type of stuff, you know, with multiple different cool things you can go for. Absolutely none of the things we have seen for Druid, like the massive amount of choice for balanced Druid, for example, with legendaries, tier sets and whatnot. Hunter doesn't really have much of anything. You have very boring options like kill shot crit chance is increased by 20%, aim shot crit chance is increased by 10%, aim shot damage is increased by 10%, arcane shot and multi-shot damage is increased by 25%. You know, it's not very exciting. You have trick shots, which is something you already had. You can go and basically retake everything about rapid fire. Rapid fire, the rapid fire talent, the rapid fire legendary to get your rapid fire back. Steady focus is another talent. You can retake your cooldown true shot, you can retake your cooldown lone wolf, you can take the Serpent Stalker's trickery legendary, lock and load talent, call in the shots to reduce the cooldown of true shot, and the empowerment choice of true shot. The only interesting changes in this entire talent tree, besides these basic talents reshuffled here, are this one, heavy ammo and light ammo option, which is going to be making your AoE either hitting even more targets or hitting less targets but doing more damage. So it's an interesting choice for you. And this one, your older Legion artifact trait, Legacy of the Windrunners, for wind arrows to automatically be casted after your aim shots. Coalescing 3 to 6 arrows and then increasing their crit chance and crit damage by up to 15%. And this is 5 points. 5 talent points for something that took 1 talent point, 1 point for the Legion artifact weapon. It's not very exciting. And then you have the return of the Wailing Arrow ability from the Sylvanas bow. Everything else is very boring, it's very uninteresting. It's not that there is nothing, as you can see, even the options. This one is the only 2-choice option besides the empowerment of your true shot and the option here to empower your surging shot, but it's never something new, something exciting. You can't think about a different Marksmanship Hunter build. When you look at this talent setup, it's all just aim shot damage. The only possible new build you can have is whether or not it's going to be worth to take rapid fire. You know, if you can basically completely ignore rapid fire here and spend these points somewhere else. That's the only thing for Marksmanship. The situation, unfortunately, does not get too much better for things like BM. We can retake pretty much the exact same talent we have already taken, and that's just a prelude to how easy, how simple rather, things are going to be to just spec into, right? There you go. I just spec'd into BM. BM has slightly more options, slightly. They have this pet swarm talents, like being able to take Dire Beast, being able to take Animal Companion for the second pet, being able to take Dire Pack to have Dire Beast having even more effects. You can even take this one, Wild Instincts and Blood Frenzy choices to empower your summoned pets even more, and then Call of the Wild to summon even more pets, right? So you have quite a few options for this pet menagerie type of build. However, the majority of the options are going to be still around your barb shot uptime and your pet damage. You know, you take Beast Cleave. One of the new things for AoE that Beast Mastery Hunters will enjoy a lot is this one, Kill Cleave. When Beast Cleave is active, so every single time in AoE, Kill command now also strikes nearby enemies for 50% damage, so you have not just beast cleave for your pet damage, but also kill command cleave. So perhaps this might even make BM Hunter a pretty solid AoE spec now. Then you can go and take Bestial Wrath and Aspect of the Wild, basically your 2 cooldowns. You can retake your Barb Shot Reset passive. You can take Bloodshed for your bleed on enemies to increase your pet damage. Good old Thrill of the Hunt, your 9% crit chance, extra charge of Barb Shot, Cobra Shot obviously. Very important to take Barb Wrath to increase the cooldown reduction of your Bestial Wrath as much as you can. You can then take Stomp. Stomp and Bloodshed used to be in the same talent row. Now you can take both of them at the same time. You can take Scent of Blood for the double charge of Barb Shot on Bestial Wrath activation into Rhyla Stalker's Piercing Fangs, the currently most used legendary for Beast Mastery Hunters. You can then take Call of the Wild to take this one right here. While Call of the Wild is active, Barb Shot has a 25% chance to gain a charge and regain focus, whatever you want here. Then you have 1 more point, which you can spend whenever. I'm not too sure even where you're gonna put it. Anyways, you can see that even for BM Hunter, this doesn't look nearly as exciting. You know, your top finisher is Rhyla Stalkers, which is the already most used legendary. Anyways, you know, your top end new stuff is 2 cooldowns you already have, and one of the passive you already have. You used to have this already. One of your returning talents. When you go back here to something like Druid, the different options for Druid are so many that are completely different and superior to the choices of BM. If you go back to the newly released Rogue, same goes for Rogue, same goes for the specs of Rogue. You have very new stuff like Indiscriminate Carnage for assassination, the double use of poisons, both lethal and non-lethal. You have Sepsis as a Covenant ability with Exsanguinate, Doomblade as another legendary, Venomous Wounds, and Dashing Scoundrel as another legendary. But for Hunter, this is much more boring. It is much less diverse than other specs we have seen so far. Because when you look at other specs, you can always think about something different, like, is Rogue going to go for a double poison damage, poison energy, you know, increase poison and bleed damage, or are they going to go for a more, for example, Doomblade with extra damage on your Mutilate, like this with Vicious Venoms, with Maim and Mangle to make your Mutilate deal even more damage, Blindside to give you even more ambush damage, and then you can go back here and take talents like Improved Ambush to make ambush even stronger. You can do the same if you play, for example, with Shadow Priest. Shadow Priest will also have some pretty interesting, like, crazy options, like the Idols of N'Zoth and Isharij. Here you have more idols here as well, options to make some sort of shadowy apparition build as well. But for Hunter, no, like, this is not gonna change anything for Beast Mastery. What is gonna be even less exciting perhaps is going to be the survival tree. So I want to show you something. What I want to show you is this amount of talents that are going to be required if you want to go for the Wildfire Bomb build, which is basically your build that you have right now. This is 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Then you have 7, 8, 9 and possibly even 10. Pretty much all of these are going to be almost mandatory if you want to go for a Wildfire Bomb build. Why? This is of course the Wildfire Bomb ability itself. Then you have the Guerrilla Tactics talent, which is of course a must take. Then you have 3 points to increase the damage of Wildfire Bomb by 25%, and then 3 more points to make Kill Shot reduce the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb by 7.5 seconds. Also, you have to take Carve so that you can use Frenzy Strikes to reduce the cooldown of your Wildfire Bomb. You also then must take Tactical Advantage because that buffs your Wildfire Bomb damage by 20%. You can then take Wildfire Infusion over here, and finally you can take Deadly Duo. Kill command resetting as a 15% chance to also make your Kill Shot castable on any target, which is good because Kill Shot is what reduces the cooldown of Wildfire Bomb. So you have essentially 24 talent points as a must take if you want to go for a Wildfire Bomb build. Basically, you only have 6 points that you can choose Everything else is just mandatory, you know. And of course this one as well, kill command having a 25% chance to reset its cooldown. You want to reset it because when you reset it, you have a 15% chance to reset kill shot to give you cooldown reduction on your Wildfire bomb. So all of this is going to be mandatory. This one I lined because it has a 6% crit damage dealt, so it's also a buff to Wildfire bomb. It does have at the very least, unlike Marksmanship and unlike Beast Mastery, it does have some new things at the end. Because at the end, you can take, for example, with this build, you can take 3 different offensive cooldowns. 1, 2, 3. You can take your already existing Coordinated Assault, right? That's the same. However, now you can take your Fury of the Eagle, your Legion Artifact ability, your front spear AoE in front of you for AoE damage, and then you can take this new one, Spearhead, which is going to be a single target damage steroid for you. The only positive of the Survival 3 is that we're gonna live in a world where possibly you might go for a AoE build centered around entirely Wildfire bomb, right? Just take everything that gives you Wildfire bomb damage, right? Or there might be the possibility, depending on tuning, to go for a single target build, because you can take Tip of the Spear to make your Raptor Strike deal more damage stacking up, which then follows up with Mungus Bite, of course. You can then take 10% more damage with Mungus Bite as well. You can then take, you can go down here just so that you can take this one, Raptor Strike and Mungus Bite and Butchery and Carve, so everything that isn't a Wildfire Bomb deal 15% more damage. This is going to unlock other things like 6% more crit damage, Coordinated Assault, 6% more crit chance, and Spearhead, Coordinated Kill, Birds of Prey to extend the duration of Coordinated Assault, and just because we are not that mean, we can take Harpoon. With this build, you basically completely ignore Wildfire Bomb. Everything about Wildfire Bomb gets ignored, even this one down here, just ignored. And instead, you go and take everything that increases your single target damage. This might be viable in pretty much every fight that has only one target, or has one target most of the time. So that's the only variety that happens in the Hunter trees. Marksmanship is painfully boring with very few options and pretty much no choices of changing your playstyle as a Marksmanship Hunter. The only tiny chance on whether or not you can still use Rapid Fire, and that shouldn't make you happy. That type of diversity shouldn't make you happy because at the moment Marksmanship Hunter plays with Aim Shot, Rapid Fire and Steady Shot. Like, you're already playing with 3 buttons, you shouldn't be too happy if one of them goes away. I wouldn't enjoy that type of diversity. Beast Mastery Hunter might have a little bit more of a pet swarm type of talent build with a few more points spent in there, but it seems less likely. Survival is the better of the 3. It is still not great, it is still very on rails because basically every single AoE situation is going to lock you into 24 points to get everything you can about Wildfire Bomb, so it's not gonna feel too good, but at the very least you might have the copium dream of also having a completely different single target build for Mungus Bite damage and Spearhead single target talent for a big cooldown, right? So that is the only saving grace for Hunter talents. The other talents are just a disappointment so far. Many of them are simply too boring, as we pointed out already with Marksmanship at the start. Many of them are very flat, like 10% more damage, 10% more crit, 3 points. You go into Survival, which we said is the better one, and you have to spend 3 points to get 6% more crit chance, and then 3 points to get 6% more crit damage. You know, it just feels not too good. You want to have more options, you want to have more weird things like Shadow Priest, you know, pretty much all of these. Look at the complexity and the flavor of the text of all of these abilities for Shadow Priest. You know, the idle choices, the other idle choices, the void apparitions to have a chance to make your shadowy apparitions infused with void. You have sanguine teachings to give you more damage when you're shielded, so you want to keep yourself shielded to do more damage. This one, Living Shadows, basically have a copycat, a duplicate shadow to duplicate your spells. Rotten Wither to have a chance to proc the extension of your dots. all of this variety and flavor for Shadow, and then you go to Hunter and all of this flavor, all of this variety is just not there. It's just much more on rails, much more standard. And I think at this point, even after Blizzard had the option to make Hunter a much more diverse and a much more in-depth spec because of all these talents, right? With all of these talent options, Blizzard could have added multiple new abilities, new ways to make your rotation more complex and more satisfying to pull off, and they still decided not to. So we went through this dumbing down of the Hunter class in Warlords. It continued in Legion and in BFA and in Shadowlands. All the spec have remained quite simple to play, and even now that we are in Dragonflight and Blizzard had the option with these very in-depth talent trees to make the specs of Hunter a little bit more complex, it seems like they are intentionally carrying on with their mindset, which is we want to keep Hunter as a simple spec with a simple rotation, with simple options, and we like it that way. We like it that way coming into Dragonflight. I feel like that is what they were going for with these talent trees. I think they are way too intentionally simple and bare bones compared to the imagination we have seen in all these other talent trees for the other classes, to think that this is just Blizzard being bad and not knowing how to set up the talent trees for Hunter. I think it's an actual design decision to keep them as I guess streamlined as possible. So to close, I guess if you enjoyed Hunter already, if you enjoy the simplicity of Hunter already, then these talent trees will still be just fine for you. You won't find anything wrong with these talents. Of course, if you wished Hunter went a little bit back to its older ways, perhaps, Mist of Pandaria, Survival Hunter, some Wrath or TBC, BM Hunter, something like this, then you won't find too much in these talents. You won't find too much hope in these talents for Hunter. But again, it's mostly a design choice, I believe. So I still think it's quite bad. They are quite bad for me, for my own playstyle. I don't like these talents and imagining how Hunter would play with these talents, but I'm going to leave it up to preference, to your own personal preference in whether or not you will enjoy a more simple and a more laid-back type of playstyle that Hunter is still going to have in Dragonflight. With this being said, it is time to leave after this overview of the Hunter talent trees for Dragonflight. Thank you guys for watching the video, of course, and for liking and commenting down below, which will certainly help the channel, just like subscribing to the channel will help as well. Also, as a reminder, a thank you to all of the patrons that have supported me so far on Patreon. However much your pledge is still very appreciated. As a continuation of this, I am found on Twitter, to be followed right over here, and also of course you can support me on Patreon as well, which will give you access to my Discord channel. In my Discord channel you can find me pretty much always if you have any questions to ask, some info, perhaps some tips and some feedback about the videos, about the content, maybe the content you would like to see. You're also free to join over there. Thank you guys for watching, see you guys soon, and in the meantime, well, bad news. Bad news, the forecast of this week is going to show up a 38 to 40 degrees Celsius coming out this weekend. I'm not too pleased, if I have to be honest.